Welcome, Jackie. Welcome to the talk show. Thank you for taking out some time to speak with me today. And before we move forward, could you please quickly introduce yourself to the audience?
Yes, and thank you for having me. My name is Jackie Botelho. I'm the founder of Above and Beyond VIP Concierge, which is a hospitality and event agency in New York City.
Awesome. And do you have other branches as well of this company, or is it currently only in New York?
Currently, we are just in New York. We have plans to expand pretty drastically over the next 6 to 8 months. But right now, yes, it's just in New York, and then we'll be going city by city.
Okay.
That's why we have the .NYC, and then it'll be like .SD for San Diego or .MIA for Miami. So it'll be great.
That's awesome. And how many people are currently there in the company?
We have 6. So we're really lucky. We've got a head concierge, a few concierge under her. We have website development, we have security, and then we have social media. We have a great team. I'm really lucky.
Okay. And what motivated you to start this company?
I came from a sales background, and I always wanted to get into hospitality coming from sales, because I always wanted to be like, my favorite part about being in sales is being around people all the time. But I didn't want to live my life by a number, because I was in a very high pressured sales job out of school. It was actually in office supplies. So, I mean, when I say I hit the pavement, I mean, I hit the pavement. I went to I probably walked into 40 to 50 different offices on a daily basis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's actually amazing. Not even just offices, anything from pizza places and gas stations to spas and offices. I really left no stone unturned. And then I moved to San Diego, and I really wanted to try hospitality, but I knew since I didn't have any hospitality experience, I wouldn't probably get a great opportunity. So I cold called myself at a bunch of hotels in the area, and I ended up getting the head concierge position at this boutique hotel on the beach. And I pioneered this program that helped us go from number 11 to number 3 on TripAdvisor in less than 4 months. So it was amazing. The amount of feedback that we were getting on a daily basis with the 5-star reviews saying, oh, they went above and beyond, above and beyond. I ended up calling the company Above and Beyond VIP Concierge. It was supposed to just kind of be a side thing. But then I got home, I got back into sales. I wasn't happy. I got another sales job. I was also not happy. So I took what I knew from sales and from hospitality, and I put it together to create this company.
That's an amazing story, and really good use of your skill set to actually start a company which is which stands on your core skill set. That's amazing. Yeah.
It was kind of funny. This woman, I remember right before the day that I started the company, I was out to lunch with one of my clients, and she was like, and I was, I was not happy with my position.
Yeah.
So she said, well, I'm sure you've asked yourself this question a million times, but if money wasn't an issue, what would you do tomorrow? And I was like, that's kind of bad, because I haven't asked myself that question. And in that moment, I decided that I was going to start the company. I filed for my LLC that day. Since then, we've become an S Corp, but yeah, that was the day that is basically the first day of the rest of my life. So it was pretty powerful.
That's amazing. Did you do it the very same day or the next day?
Yeah, I literally left lunch, and I called, I Googled how to get an LLC, and I found the first company that I found, and yeah.
That's great. Did
you very immediate.
Did you self-finance the company, or did you get investors?
Yeah, so I had enough money to put a really good down payment down on a house. I'm quite the little saver. And I don't know, I didn't see myself leaving, so I lived in New York City, so I didn't see myself living in anywhere else besides New York City for a while. I was like, you know what, let me just kind of put this investment in myself. So I did. So I self-funded the company on my own. And obviously when you self-fund, you don't really have money for marketing and all of this, and finding a lawyer. So thankfully I had a lot of people who really helped me along the way, gave me a lot of really great pro bono advice. And I basically built the company off of YouTube videos and Googling. And the same thing with my website. I was so tired of paying people to upset me. I give them $1,000 and they would just not do what I wanted them to do at all. So I learned how to build a WordPress website on YouTube and Google as well. So definitely a challenging year, but I'm really happy I did, because now, it's so easy for me to fix a quick thing on the website, or, I'm this I've got this wealth of knowledge of, you know, startup kind of questions, which has been really great because I've been able to help a lot of people who are starting this journey as well. And, you know, I've given them some really good advice, which has been very rewarding.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And how about your school? Where did you go to school and what was your major?
I went to Southern Connecticut State University in New Haven, Connecticut, and my major was marketing. And then I had minors in management and psychology.
Okay. Psychology is really important. Glad you mentioned that, because like whenever you're talking to customers, to client, or to anybody, so marketing it's like a really good skill, but to have psychology on top of that, that's like super amazing. Is that correct?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like obviously understanding the customer is probably the most important part of sales in any way, whether it's hospitality sales or any kind of sales.
Yeah.
You really have to, or honestly, like really any industry, you just have to understand who your customer is and the way they think. And I've actually been really blessed to be able to put myself in other people's situations and take myself out of this role and kind of see things from, you know, somebody who's never seen the company, how they're looking at the website, or how they're, you know, how they're understanding what we do. And it was really, that was probably one of my biggest challenges, was being able to just, you know, take yourself out of something that you're like eat, sleep, and breathing all day long and see it from like a completely different view. But in the last 2 years, I've really been able to do that. And again, I have such a great team, and they give me the best advice because they're really good at being able to just take themselves out of it as well and just really see it from a new view.
Yeah, that's simply amazing. And, you know, starting your own company and getting into this entrepreneur life, would you say the entrepreneur life chose you, or did you choose it?
I would say it chose me. I remember well, I mean, sales was always just something that came natural to me. I remember my dad, he always used to give me like, let's say $2 for ice cream when he knew it cost $4. And he was like, just go and see what you can do. And I come back with like the $5 ice cream. Like I always like, just, you know, I'm very relatable, and I've always been able to, you know, make people feel happy around me. I have a really positive energy, which, you know, is something that has catapulted me in my career. And now as an entrepreneur, being able to understand the people that I'm talking to, whether they're my partners or their clients or whoever they are, and just really like owning the role makes me feel that the entrepreneur life chose me. But I mean, obviously after that lunch, I chose it as well.
Definitely. Like once you start it, it's easy, but to actually make it successful is the difficult part. Am I right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So according to you, what would be a basic skill set required to start a business?
Self-motivation. It's definitely a real roller coaster of emotions when you start a company.
Yeah.
And, you know, some days are the best. And then some days you're like, I don't even want to get out of bed. So being able to stay motivated and being able to also have like a healthy work-life balance. It's especially if you're in an industry like hospitality, or, you know, anytime I go out to eat, I'm already thinking about like, oh, this could be a partner. You know, I can't even, anything I do or anywhere I go, I'm always thinking like, oh, maybe I can twist this into the company somehow. So keeping a work-life balance and really being able to shut off is really important. But self-motivation, I mean, it's really hard to stay committed every single day. But then, you know, you have these days where you're like, man, I'm so happy. You know, maybe I had a bad day on a Monday, right? And then I just pushed through and I worked Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and something happened on Wednesday where on Thursday I was like, oh my God, thank God that you did that. Because otherwise I probably wouldn't have gotten that opportunity, or I wouldn't have gone to that event and met that person. So you really do have to stay motivated, and you have to always keep your eye on the prize. Those are my best pieces.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you, because motivation, it's really, you know, hard to stay motivated throughout the whole process. You'll have ups, you'll have downs, and then there is this issue of mental health also, which is not being touched by, you know, most of the entrepreneurs. So when you're doing badly and you're, you know, getting into negative finances, so that's the place where you have to motivate yourself to keep moving forward, and you have to set a bar where you set things. Okay, if I go below this much amount, then I should stop, or I should have a backup plan for that. Yeah.
See, that is where I have to disagree with you, because I, again, funded this myself. So I remember when I was down, I remember when I said when I get down to 20 grand in my bank account, because I'm like also paying rent in New York City as well, living. I mean, I was like eating pasta every day, but I was still living. So if I stopped when I set those thresholds, then I would never be where I am today. So it's a really, really hard thing to do. I mean, like, I'm not exaggerating. I worked for years for 15-hour days for no paycheck whatsoever. And then, you know, actually, like, since this pandemic, it's been pretty, you know, difficult as well, because the company was thriving. So it's the middle of February right now. At this time last year, this company was thriving. I mean, we were doing so well. I had completely proven the model. I was giving out my business card in a city of over 8 million people. They were recognizing the logo left and right. They're like, oh, I know this company. We were partnering with the Marriott, with 6 Marriotts in Midtown. I mean, the company was completely just on its way to just absolute domination. And then, you know, within a couple of weeks, it was over. And so really over this pandemic, reinventing the company twice, actually, because when we went to the second shutdown, that's when I was like, nope, gonna go all virtual now. So I reinvented the company twice in the past year, plus, you know, dealing with like personal stuff as well, because we're in a pandemic and just there's so much going on and it's just such a scary time. I will say that, like, you know, after it's hard, you know, because at the end of the day, you're like, all right, so I've proven the model. This company can and will make money, but here I am back to working 15-hour days for no paycheck again. And it's hard. It's hard to keep your like morale up and stay positive. But again, if I stopped when I hit those thresholds, then I would never be where I am today. So my best advice in that kind of aspect is go until you cannot go anymore. Like until like literally there's like no possible way, you're completely out of money and there's just nothing you can do. But even at that time, I'm sure if your idea is good enough, then you'll be able to take on an investor. I've tried to avoid giving away equity, but even now, I mean, I'm starting to consider it, not because of financial reasons, but just because I feel like, you know, it's pretty powerful to be able to have some, you know, like a COO who's got experience and he'd come in and kind of, you know, help us with our processes. Like we're always striving to be better. And now that the company is up and running again, and we're starting to do really, really well, and we've got all these hotels and we've got these luxury condos and apartment buildings. Now, you know, it would make sense to give away a little bit of equity to be able to get some really, really good guidance on, you know, different sectors that my team and I maybe aren't absolute professionals in yet.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm glad that you're doing so well even during these times. And especially I'm glad that you brought up this topic, because my next question is based on that. So for newcomers who are starting their companies in 2021, given this pandemic situation, how difficult would you say it is to start a company during these times?
Oh, I mean, it depends on, you know, what industry it's in hospitality or events. I would say it's very difficult and I wouldn't recommend it. It's been really hard to stay afloat, but if you know, one thing that I thought was, listen, the pandemic has been terrible for so many people. And I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, if you're still breathing and you're still alive, then you really shouldn't be complaining as much as, you know, I mean, thankfully I haven't lost anybody close to me. I mean, I did have COVID and I lost my sense of smell for like 9 months. But other than that, I've been really lucky that nobody in my life that has gotten COVID has, you know, passed away or anything. But I think at the end of the day, it's given people an opportunity to slow down, whereas they wouldn't normally have been able to. And I can't tell you how many of my contacts have started a side business that are now thriving. Consulting, even a mom job platform where you can learn, where you could be a mother, a stay-at-home mom, or, you know, a working mom, and you could learn about everything that has to do with you know, being a mom in business and all of your rights and all that. I mean, like, people are coming up with all of these really, really cool different ideas that they never would have been able to before, because they were, you know, I mean, working 24/7. I mean, I think that before the pandemic, I know myself as well as everyone in my network, we're going a million miles an hour. I mean,
Wow.
it's giving people an opportunity to take something that was maybe a hobby for them and turn it into something incredible. I know this woman, now she's a sommelier. She was like, well, now I have the time. She took all these classes and now she's a sommelier. She's doing wine tastings for us. I mean,
Oh, wow.
I mean, so it depends on like what industry you're looking in and like where your talents lie. I wouldn't take on a company that has a lot of overhead right now. So if it needs a storefront, maybe think of ways that you can do it online. But I think that if you have an idea right now is the time, because while so many companies are unfortunately going under, I feel that the pandemic didn't necessarily change anything, but it accelerated everything. So anything that was on its way out is out, and anything that is possibly able to survive in a situation like this is thriving right now, or they're still making it work. And it's an unprecedented time, but it's up to you to make those lemons into lemonade, you know? And that's where I'm really proud of a lot of people in my network that have really made $1 out of 15 cents. I'm just super proud of them. So if you have an idea, go for it, and just make sure that you always keep your eye on the prize and just try not to do anything that has a lot of overhead, because I think that that's where it's going to hurt people.
Completely true. That's true. And while starting your own company, what were some of the hurdles that you faced? What were some of the difficulties that you had to go through?
Well, I mean, it's a completely unique idea, and there's nothing really like it out there. So it wasn't like I could really bounce it off of like competitors or compare myself to competitors and how I can make it better. And you know what, honestly, it's just like a very lonely road to be an entrepreneur. A lot of times people who are close to you don't believe in you, and they're constantly telling you just like, go get a job, just make your life easier. And it's not because they don't believe in you, but they just, you know, some people just don't understand when you have a passion for something and you feel something in your gut and your whole soul and you want to go for it. A lot of people probably won't be behind you that you would want to be behind you. So I think that that's a really big challenge. And then also just like finding the right people to have in your network. I mean, I remember when I first started, it was really, really hard for me to find other entrepreneurs, never mind women entrepreneurs. And a lot of them have, you know, they started from, you know, their parents' company, or they had a partner who already had so much experience. Like there's very few entrepreneurs that start from like literally nothing and build something. So it was really hard for me to find people in that had that same struggle like that I was having, because it's a lonely road, and it's like, am I doing this right? What am I doing? And then if you ask certain people, sometimes they're giving you advice that you know isn't right. It's just, it's a lonely road. So I would say my best advice for anybody who's starting a company is just make sure you surround yourself with a really positive network of people who really believe in what you're doing, believe in you, want to help you, and also are in some way, shape, or form have been through what you've been through, so that they could actually understand your struggles. Because if they don't understand it, they don't understand it.
That's true. That's true. And yeah, I mean, struggles are always there whenever you're starting a company. And what about your successes? What were some of your monumental successes that you considered that if you completed one milestone that you would, you know, make it like a one successful trophy in your company?
Well, partnering with 11 hotels during a pandemic was pretty monumental. I would say that was number one. We've also gotten some really great media attention. So we were featured on ABC's 2020 for their Corona Hustle. So that was really amazing. And we also were mentioned for one of the projects that we did with one of our hotels on Good Day New York. So that was really exciting, because I watch Good Day New York every day. And to hear Rosanna Scotto hear my company's name was really incredible. And yeah, and again, we're just getting started. So it's been really powerful to see how we've grown even in the worst of times. And I'm just so excited to see what this next year is going to bring, because it's already looking so incredible.
Wow. And then you mentioned that you signed up 11 contracts. That's like super monumental,
Yeah.
especially during the pandemic times. Like, can you mention what type of clients have you partnered up with?
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So we partnered with three different hospitality groups, and then a couple of luxury residences. So what we do is we basically create a subdomain for them. So there's the main website that you can just see what's available. And then we have subdomains for our different partners where they kind of get to pick and choose their experiences for their different demographics. Some of them are luxury, some of them are just really trendy. And yeah, we've partnered with all these hotels and these luxury apartment complexes. And it's pretty incredible to watch how the response has been from the guests. I mean, they really appreciate this kind of service. It doesn't cost the hotels anything. They just give us access to their guests, and we make sure that they all have a great experience. And then it also gives them a competitive edge because we will only be offering this to a certain amount of hotels per city that we're in. So the idea is that guests would choose those hotels over others so that they can get access to these great experiences.
That's a really, really smart way to partner up with people. I'm glad you got all of those 11 contracts. That's amazing. So I understand that you're, working most of the time, but what do you do when you're not working? How do you spend your free time?
I love to cook. It's kind of funny. I mean, normally people find a chore at the end of the day. So like I'll have like the craziest day, maybe like 10, 15 calls in a day. And all I can think about is just like getting in the kitchen and just cooking something amazing. My friends, my family, everybody benefits from that. So it's really nice to just like host my friends or my family over and just, bringing people together. That's like really what I like to do in my spare time. I love to cook. I love to host. I love to just bring people together. We've been doing a lot of team events that are just fun, like a magician event, or we did some of our other events that have just been like team outings virtually, obviously. And that's been really fun too. It's been a really good way for the teams to come together and, get to know each other on a personal level since they already know each other on a professional level. And it's been really nice. So that's kind of the most of it when it comes to the pandemic. And I also have been horseback riding. So that's been really,
wow. Okay.
Yeah. Talk about like freeing your mind. It feels so good.
When did you start learning horseback riding? Like very young or?
Yeah. I was 8 years old when I started, and then I stopped like right around 12. And I feel like nobody should have any regrets in your life, because if you like who you are, you wouldn't be who you are if it weren't for everything that happened along the way. But one regret that I do have is not horseback riding after, like, it just got to be too much with like school and everything, but I should have stuck with it because it was always just such like a great outlet for me. And now that I'm doing it again, now I'm feeling it again. It's so freeing, and it's, for such like a small little person to be able to control such like a huge animal under you. It's just such like a powerful, incredible feeling. I can't describe it.
Absolutely. That's amazing. Do they have horseback riding somewhere in New York, or do you have to travel outside somewhere?
Yeah, I have to do a little traveling, but it's worth it.
Oh, that's nice. Okay. And could you share an important lesson that you learned from life?
Yes. So when I first started the company, all I did was try to figure out how I can make it proprietary, how I can make sure that nobody can copy me, because the concept that I created is completely new, and I did it all by myself, and I just really didn't want somebody with more resources to come along and take my idea. So one piece of advice that my dad gave me when I was just starting the company, and I think about it all the time, and I always give this piece of advice to other people who suffer in this area, is no racehorse ever won by looking to the sides. So always stay hyper-focused on your dream, your road, stay in your lane, and just obviously always be aware of what's around you, your competitors, people, anything. You always be aware of what's around you, but you should never let it overcome you or make decisions for you, because that's just not what entrepreneurs do. You gotta stay strong.
That's true. That's true. Like if you're always worried about other people copying your concept, then you can't really fully focus on what you're doing, right? Then you always keep distracted, and then you're not able to fully utilize your energy and your mind. That's true. And what keeps you moving forward in life?
Just all of the amazing people that we've touched along the way. I mean, the reviews we have are so great, and we're responsible for, I think, 9 couples right now. 2 of them are engaged because of events. I mean, because of the meeting at our events.
Yeah.
We've put smiles on so many tourist faces that come to the city. You know, they've probably saved most of their lives to come to New York for a week, and they don't know what to do. And, you know, they go off of these, you know, reviews and these review sites and all this, but you never know what kind of experience you're going to get. So to kind of guarantee somebody this amazing experience that they would normally not get, that they are being treated like they're so special and they're so just like a personalized experience, that's something that, you know, you'll remember forever. And that's the feedback that we get. And it's honestly been so incredible seeing those reviews come in and people just being absolutely wowed by our service and how helpful we are and how much we care. I mean, those are really, really important parts of our mission. And, you know, helping people as well as the community. We donate a portion of all of our proceeds for any of our events to our different charity partners. So we've given back to the community, we give back to our local partners and help them get business because they deserve it. And of course, we're giving back to the people who book through us because they're a part of our family now and they're feeling so special and amazing. So yeah, it's been pretty incredible.
Yeah, and you mentioned that you are able to give back to the community. That's like a really big, you know, milestone, that once you reach a level that you have enough, and then you are able to contribute back to the community. So that's really amazing. I'm really glad for you.
Thank you. Yeah, people thought I was crazy in the beginning. They were like, you need to make money before you can start donating. I'm like, yeah, but that's not what the company's about. The company's about helping people. So like the money will come for me. I just, in the company, like I want to make sure that we're giving back because that's most important. And they need it more than us, of course.
Yeah, great. That's amazing. Okay. What's the best and worst part of being a CEO or running a company?
The best part is definitely watching your idea come to life and just watching it grow. I mean, it's so incredible. It's like a feeling you can't even describe. I mean, I don't have kids, so I would assume that it's somewhat like watching like a child grow up, but there's just so many moving parts, and when it all comes together and it's completely supersedes whatever dreams you had of it, that's by far the best part about being a CEO. Like just being able to make something happen. The worst part is definitely everything's on your shoulders. So, you know, every decision you make is being affected by your company, and you know, everything you do is being affected by your company. So it's just, it's hard because it's a lot of pressure, but again, if you have the right team in place and you've got good people to bounce ideas off of and you know, work together to make sure that it's good for everybody, that's been a really big blessing for me.
Absolutely. And for 2021, do you have a pledge?
Yes, we will be in 3 cities by 2022. Okay. So pretty excited about that.
Okay. Have you fixed all 3 of those cities, or still thinking about that?
Yeah, it'll be Miami, like / Fort Lauderdale, and San Diego are our next ones.
Okay, great. Awesome.
Yeah, super excited.
Yeah.
Well, we already have the networks there. So really it's just about building the infrastructure and then duplicating the website.
Okay, that's nice. Okay, so now we have reached the rapid fire section of this interview. I'm going to ask you short questions, and please try to keep your answers short as well. If you come across any question that you don't want to answer, you can say skip and I'll move on to the next one.
Okay.
Okay, great. First one is, are you an iPhone person or an Android person?
A what? I'm sorry.
iPhone or Android?
Oh, iPhone, definitely.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Okay. What's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
Make my bed, kiss my puppy, brush my teeth, and then do some meditation.
Okay, that's an awesome routine.
Those are a couple of things, but I didn't know which one to put in order. So making my bed is first. I'm like OCD of making my bed.
Okay. Next one is 3 things no one knows about you.
Well, nobody knows that I'm horseback riding again. So that's one. Or that I rollerblade. So that could be 2. And nobody really knows that I have bad days. I feel like all day long I have so much positivity and I'm always so happy, so excited, so motivated. So not a lot of people know that sometimes I have bad days. Like it's really not all sunshine and rainbows over here, but it's about getting through them. That's what
definitely
what keeps you going.
Yeah. And what's the craziest thing someone has done for you?
Well, my first hotels that I got, somebody actually made that introduction. So they made an introduction from a company that they made an introduction for kind of like a concierge company that was really hurting during the pandemic, and then introduced me to 4 of our first hotels. And that was pretty crazy, I think, because like
that's pretty big. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's huge. That was pretty crazy, and I owe him big time. I always will.
That's great. That's amazing. What's the one thing that you would like to change about yourself?
I would like to, I don't know, I guess have more of like a poker face and not take things, you know, it's hard not to take things to heart when it's your company, and it's hard not to take things personally, but I wish that I would just not take things personally ever, and just, you know, just be calm, cool, collected, never let anything affect me. But I'm human, so we'll see.
Okay. What's your spirit animal?
My dog Waffles.
Okay.
It's literally like me, but a dog, and so cute.
That's nice. A rumor about you that you wish were true.
I guess that I'm always happy. I mean, I literally like I'm on like 10 to 15 calls a day, and I'm like this all day long. But it's been really a crazy couple of years, and struggles are real. So I usually cancel calls if I'm not feeling well, because I don't want anyone to get, you know, not the best impression of me. But so, and everyone always sees this side, but yeah, I guess a rumor would be that I'm always like this super happy person, but bad days too, like everyone else does.
But it's really great that you're able to maintain that positive outward appearance. That's really nice.
You have to.
Yeah. What's the easiest way to piss you off?
Ignoring me.
Okay. What's the one thing that you own that you wish you didn't?
One thing that I own that I wish I didn't. I don't really have anything, Skip.
Okay. What's the thing that you're most afraid of?
Failure. Losing everything that I've worked for these past 4 years would just be, can't even talk about it.
That's true. What's the most interesting thing that you have in your purse or wallet?
I have this little heart that this woman gave me at an event, and she told me, it was so random. She just comes up to me and she's like, oh, you look like you have a really big heart. I could feel it from across the room. So I'm going to give you this little heart. I've just always kept it in my purse, and it's just, I don't know, randomly I'll see it and I'll be like, oh, it's cute.
Yeah, it's so sweet. It's nice. According to you, what new technology will transform the future?
Virtual platforms, for sure. I mean, Zoom's great, but now they've got all these different ones that are just so intuitive and incredible, detailed. I'm really excited to see where the future goes with virtual.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, now you have to rate yourself from 1 to 10 on the following. 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest. First one is quick learner.
An 8.
Okay. As a leader?
I would like to say also A.
Okay. As a CEO?
I will say A again.
Okay. As a friend?
Oh, 10 for sure.
As a horseback rider?
Oh, 10. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not. I'm like 6.
Okay, great. So with that, we have reached the end of this interview. And before I let you go, I just have one last question for you. Could you introduce me to 3 other CEOs or business owners who might be interested in doing an interview with me? And you don't have to mention the names right now. You can get back to me after this call.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. Sounds great. So thanks, Jackie. Thanks for doing this interview with me today. Thanks for taking out some time to speak with me and sharing glimpses of your lives, of your childhood, about the company, about your background, how you made it all work together, about your failures, successes, how you actually powered through and used your power of will to self-motivate yourself to start this company and make it successful. So thank you so much for doing this with me today.
Thank you. And I would just like to add one more thing to anybody who watches this video. If you need any help during your process of starting your company, or really even if you've started it and you're just kind of feeling, you're hitting some big speed bumps, please feel free to contact me. Me and my team are always happy to help anybody who wants to follow their dreams, because that's what it's all about.
That's great. That's amazing. Thank you, Jackie.
Of course. Thank you.
Okay. Take care. Bye.